Sawarak, Yamle de Pool, Lapar Krechne, Yoperu, Ochresh Yahla, Achlin Idiu, Nekibia Tohun Mela, Eshalakane, Yoperuti the Telali Teo, Anacasieti, Operatalati, Huila, Ifeli Kakaya, the Kakrora. Hello my brothers and sisters of the Order, welcome back to the Order. I'm Celtic Templar, and yes, for this video, we're actually going to be talking or doing a how-to video of the Welsh Teulu, or Talalu, as some people pronounce it, and of which, if now y'all know what this word means, word means family, and in such. That's technically what these guys kind of were. Mainly because the fact is, the Teulu were a, what we might call the feudal type knight of the Welsh people. And the thing is, they would have worn nearly the same arms and armor of the said medieval knights, such as the Normans. Well, at least that's what they say, but in truth, I believe they looked more like the Saxons, like we are wearing right now. And in fact, this is the kit they would have worn, pretty much the Teulu would have worn from the pretty much start of the Viking Age, or somewhere around it, somewhere around 800 AD, or some people even say even when it came around to 700 AD, and up until the years of the 1000s, or in this case the 11th century. And in such, they would have actually worn the equipment, as you can see. Now, if now y'all know what this is my ceremonial garb, or my family garb, which is how some people actually believe that they got their term family because of this. Because it's stated that they would have the symbol of their family crest or something on it. And in such, the reason I'm wearing it on my right side is for one major reason. This symbolizes that I come in peace. As you can see, I come in peace to y'all. So yeah. But yeah, that's actually what the symbol actually means, because the reason they had it on the right side is kind of obvious. Because if they had it on the left, this would symbolize that they are hiding a sword. But since my right arm is covered, I cannot draw the sword. And in fact, the Anglo-Saxons actually appreciated this form of peace gesture that they would have actually done. And in fact, there is only a couple of symbols of the Welsh of which I have tried to look up. So yes, I had to go look through artwork mostly from the time period, such as from the time of the Viking Age, to get more hands-on approach to these. But soon after the Norman conquest, the Welsh started to adopt the same tactics and equipment the Normans' knights had even used, and especially during the time when even Edward the Longshanks invaded Wales. So yeah, the Teulu were still being recognized even during that time period. And the fact is, these guys were technically what we might call a knight. The reason I say technically a lot is because they weren't exactly a knight. They were just a noble house, a noble lord or family, that of which fought in the ranks of their own allies. And pretty much as we can see, they would have actually looked near identical to that of a Saxon or a said Viking. And the equipment, as you can see, is pretty much near identical to that timeline. So it's pretty awesome. So yeah, but pretty much as though we also understand is the fact that most of the time, most of the swords they would have used would have been Viking-style swords. But we are somewhat understandable that they might have adopted their grandfather's or their father's sword, of which would have been passed down from the design period of the late Roman spada, and probably slowly evolved. So we don't know if that's true or not, but we have found some examples to it. But as you can see, and we're doing this pretty much in September because, yeah, I had to do a lot of editing for these things, so yeah. But hopefully you like this on November 1st, y'all, because one, I certainly did like putting this together and such. But I had to put this out here. It was not easy trying to find any information about these guys. In fact, the only information I can get about their equipment would be the fact that they wore mail and helmets. other than that, we don't really know. And the thing is, when we take a look at history, we only see some parts of them. And don't worry, y'all, I will hopefully be doing a video on the regular Welsh footmen, or the common footmen, and as well the Welsh skirmishing units in history, or the bowmen, or spearmen, as they are also known as. And in such, hopefully we will get right down to it. But pretty much while wearing this, I feel extremely, well, not as sweaty as I would be wearing in gambeson. Now I'm just wearing tunics underneath this. So it's not that much padding, though, so that's a problem. But we can see why the Welsh were nearly identical to the Saxons, which I kind of like that idea of how near identical they were to them. But yeah, you can see why and how, because this feels incredibly awesome to feel in. I do not feel any fatigue, so yeah. But now this, if any of y'all know why I started doing this, one of my viewers from, I believe it was Australia, has actually requested this video for his group and such. And in fact, him and his son actually do Welsh style reenactments in Australia, I believe it was. And in such, they I actually saw their pictures and the images they sent to me on Facebook, and they actually look pretty damn accurate to what they would have looked like. Though pretty much most of the arms and armor that the Welshmen would have pretty much used would have been near identical to that of the Vikings or the Saxons, in which they didn't exactly, well, look like, well, what we think of pretty much like Arthurian type, unless we look way back further before the Viking Age, which the Arthurian type Welsh, or as they were called as, somewhere prior before the 700s or 600s, would have pretty much worn probably a Roman-style helmet. We do not know if that's true or not, because we've only found some examples of near-identical helmets, or Sprangenhelms, none of which had the cheek guards. However, it is stated, though, some of these helmets might have actually had cheek guards on them, rather than have them wearing mail. There is, though, a lot of information that we have to look up about it, so it's not easy to find. And the thing is, most of the time the Welsh are, well, a forgotten people in history, especially with their warfare, unless we take a look at Owen Glendower, or in other words the Welsh rebellions and such. But in truth, I have seen many shows try to depict or show the Welsh, and they do not do a good job. In fact, I think the only thing I've seen come close to this type of equipment the Welshmen might have used would actually be Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which, that's saying something, I know. Still though. Now, I hear many of you already. Templar, why would you actually like to do this? Why would you want to dress up as the Welsh if there are not many forgotten and probably not get that type of many views? Well, simple. It's my history, and yes, I do have Welsh in me, as well as some Pictish, Norse, and such. But the thing is, the Welsh are, as I said, a forgotten people, and they need to be remembered, especially their type of knight. In fact, the Teulu would keep fighting up until the full enclosure, or I want to say takeover of Wales by the English army. However, we do hear them coming back sometime during the Welsh rebellions, but that's a little more information to that detail, especially during the time of the 100 Years' War. But still though, the equipment that they would have worn was as follows, with mail, no gambesons whatsoever as we know of, as well as pretty much if they could afford it, or in this case steal it from the Saxons that they were fighting against, or even the Vikings, they would actually pretty much start to adopt some equipment, such as axes, and as well some other type of equipment. But anyways guys, this has been Templar. Hopefully you'll like this video, and pretty much get right into it, shall we?
distant shores. Stand up high on the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course to the haven, hew many foemen, hew many foemen. My mother told me someday I would buy galley with good oars, sail to distant shores, stand up high on the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course to the haven, hew many foemen, hew many foemen. My mother told me someday I would buy galley with good oars, sail to distant shores, stand up high on the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course to the haven, hew many foemen, hew many foemen, hew many foemen, hew many foemen. told me someday I would buy a galley with good oars, sail to distant shores, stand up high on the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course to the haven, hew many foemen, hew many foemen. My mother told me someday I would buy a galley with good oars, sail to distant shores, stand up high on the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course to the haven, hew many foemen, hew many foemen. My mother told me someday I would buy a galley with good oars, sail to distant shores, stand up high on the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course to the haven, hew many foemen, hew many foemen, hew many foemen, hew many foemen.
Well, wasn't that fascinating, y'all? Now, I know I saw many of you like, Templars, is that movement perfect? Yes. It feels perfectly, well, in line. The only problem is, I had a problem with is the strap getting hooked on the scabbard, which was the problem, so yeah. But still, the shield type design, we can see why they started to adopt this and get rid of their iconical type oval shields, which had not been used for a long time in history. Especially during the time of the Viking period, they were starting to adapt to more of round shields. However, there is a show, Vinland Saga, or an anime I should say, that does show some equipment like this, which is more accurate than any other place I've ever seen. Now, while wearing this, I feel more like a Norseman than I do a Welshman, unless I was wearing this. That's about it. But yeah, if any of y'all have ever seen the scenes from Vinland Saga, or if any of y'all have not seen Vinland Saga, I dare you to actually watch it. Even though it's a little non-realistic with some parts, still though, these Vikings were very weird with their own version of the sagas, so we don't know if that one is true or not with this and that. So yeah, but still though, they do show the Welsh, which I love. So, anyways guys, hopefully you like this video, like and subscribe for more. And as well guys, if any of you have any ideas for another how-to video, please let me know in the comments below. I am Celtic Templar, and pretty much also I hope to see you all on the battlefield, especially you, my Australian viewer. But anyways guys, hopefully you like this. See you in the next one.